Laranginitis. I'm the Senior Conservation Director with Tropical Audubon Society and also steering committee member of the Biscayne Bay Marine Health Coalition. So happy to be here. And it's my honor to introduce the City of Miami Beach Commissioner, Tanya Batt, who will introduce our first speaker.
Good morning, everybody. I won't take up too much of your time because no one's here to hear me speak, but this is such an exciting moment for me and my former neighbor and my friend, Omar Jimenez, because he started off as a rookie neighborhood activist when we first met. And let me give you a little bit of context. I'm not a politician. I won in a small landslide last November because I am a grassroots neighborhood activist starting in 2015. And the more involved I got in the city of Miami Beach, the more involved I was asked to get. And so this is not me like stepping stones up to Tallahassee or Washington. This is me trying to fix our neighborhood, which is why we're all here together, because we all care about our neighborhoods, whether it's our immediate backyards or our collective neighborhoods. So I lived in Miami Beach for 13 years in Mid-Beach, and I realized my dream of moving to a waterfront townhouse on a tiny island called Parkview, which most people don't know about, have never heard of it, couldn't find it with two hands and a map if they needed to. And I got really lucky finding this beautiful townhouse that I thought I would be carried out of feet first, you know, when I was 107 years old. It was on the water, on a quiet waterway where in the mornings and at night you hear all kinds of wildlife. You would not know that you were in the middle of a major urban setting because it is beautiful. There are mangroves that surround it and manatees that swim through and spotted rays and endless schools of fish and all kinds of wonderful things. People teaching their dogs how to swim, people teaching their kids how to swim, people kayaking and paddleboarding, and the occasional reckless jet skier who would get yelled at from all of our docks because they're going way too fast. So that was in 2016. 2020, little pandemic hits. The world shuts down. There's a contractor working on a project in Miami Beach just before the pandemic hits and hits a sewer line that causes a no contact water advisory citywide. This is major. Citywide, cleaned up 2 or 3 days later, pretty impressive, except for Parkview Island. And because nobody knows what Parkview Island looks like, it's basically like a little fist of land surrounded entirely by a very slow moving canal. It looks like it was like a little piece of land that was just sort of kicked off the mainland of the island, if you will. And so it's a very slow flow. It's a very high tidal drop. So it's about a 4-foot shift, but the water doesn't move particularly quickly, especially at the back of Parkview Island. So we waited a couple days. We figured it might take a little longer, and then waited a couple more days. And finally, I emailed the director of environmental sustainability at the city, because I'd been an activist for a long time. I'd become president of Miami Beach United, which is a not-for-profit advocacy organization connecting residents to City Hall. And so I'd already built relationships with people through that work. And she's like, no, it's just because it's slow moving. It's not a problem. So, okay, I don't know anything about this kind of stuff. Fast forward another week or two, check in again. No, it's fine. Like, well, there are like clumps of things in the water. And I've lived here for 4 years at that point, and I've never seen clumps of things in water. It's like, no, that's normal. I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, the world shut down. I'm like fighting with my boss to let me work from home. All kinds of dramas happening on a global scale. And I'm introduced to via email, and then we meet in person, Omar. And seems like a good guy. He's really interested in getting a neighborhood organization started, particularly for Parkview Island. And I sort of give him some guidance from my experience, and we let it go and sort of connect when we're walking the dogs in the neighborhood. Few months go by. There's this ongoing, it's almost like gaslighting, but it's not quite, where I keep getting told, no, it's going to be fixed. No, it's actually, the water's pretty clean. We just haven't hit 3 consecutive days of clean water. And it has to be 3, even though the water's really fine, especially where you are, because you're out near Indian Creek. And so the water flows really well. But in the back, it's a little harder to get the 3 consecutive days of clean water testing. Like, yeah, I don't know about that. So Omar and I keep talking. I'm working full time meanwhile and doing MBU and on the planning board, and he's very interested in this project. I'm like, oh, excellent. Here, take this project. And I could not have lucked into a better person to take the reins of this, because it required really serious attention to the matter, deep dive, no pun intended, into the science and what was going on and what was happening. Together, we've gotten the city to take a lot more action than it had been willing to take, than it thought it needed to take. I don't know what the deal was, but now things are moving, still slowly, but much more quickly than they have in the past. And people understand that it is a real focus. So that's longer than I wanted to, but I want you to understand how invaluable Omar has been in putting together this grassroots advocacy organization for Parkview Island, and being the head of that and being the voice of that and leading the charge from a resident's perspective in making sure the city is doing what it needs to do to take care of all of our water. Because whether or not you live on Parkview Island, water knows no boundaries. And if it's a mess where I am, it's going to become a mess where you are. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend, former neighbor, and activist par excellence, Omar Jimenez.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Omar Jimenez, founding president of the Parkview Island Sustainable Association. Didn't think I was going to get nervous, but that was quite the welcome. So thank you, Commissioner Batt. It's all true. We were neighbors, and we still live in North Beach together. So it's an excellent morning to be here today, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity. And as always, I like to start with the best news. And I can see that you're quite an optimistic group here today. So I think we should get started with the not so good news first. And the fact is that today marks the 1520th day. That's 4 years and 2 months since the Parkview Island Canal has been under a consecutive no contact advisory with the waters around our homes on Parkview Island, due to high levels of enterococci bacteria, E. coli, and some others. Let me take you back to 2016, when I had just bought my first home and moved on to Parkview Island in the North Beach community. As you can see there in the middle, that's Parkview Island, and the aerial photograph shows how close we are to Biscayne Bay. Admittedly, I had moved to North Beach in anticipation of the wonderful changes that were being planned by the North Beach Master Plan and the Community Redevelopment Agency. At around the same time, there was a lot of excitement in the air with the new developments coming to Nobi Town Center on 71st Street, 72nd Street, and of course, Parkview Island is on 73rd. So all of those developments would be just 1 block away from the Parkview Canal and the new Nobi Town Center. It wasn't all rainbows and roses, though. Unfortunately, here comes the bad news. Between July 2019 and March of 2020, the Parkview Canal was closed down due to high levels of enterococci bacteria, resulting from broken sewer mains in the south and north sides of the city. So as you can see there, that's our kayak launch, temporarily closed, and it's been 4 years and 2 months that it's temporarily closed. Of course, the no contact advisory is only a precautionary courtesy by the city, but who wants to do anything in these waters with these red signs posted all along the canal banks that says literally no contact with skin, or something that you want to see on your daily walks with your dog? So as you can see here, Parkview Island is just on the top left corner right there. And in the different shades of color, you can see the North Beach Town Center, the new developments, including the future civic and recreational uses facility, and a couple of the other residential towers that are just being completed 1 block away from the affected site. So that's when I noticed that we were underrepresented at City Hall and in our community. And it seemed like Parkview Island had been left out of many of the future plans for our neighborhood. So that's when I kicked in to build bridges of communication and friendship in our community, and especially with City Hall. And that's when the Parkview Island Sustainable Association was born. So we quickly enlisted other residents, activists, and community leaders to host our first event in March of 2020. That was the Parkview Island inaugural coastal cleanup. And we had over 150 residents show up to our cleanup and to support our new sustainable association, which would be Miami Beach's first sustainable neighborhood association. We had the pleasure of collaborating with an FIU student journalist team, Valentina Palm, and we worked together on the Parkview Island Canal story for over 2 months. Valentina went on to be named winner of the Hearst Journalism Award for Investigative Journalism when the story was published in the Biscayne Times. And from 2020 until 2023, the Miami Herald also published 3 separate stories about the Parkview Canal. So what does sustainability mean to us? Miami Beach is a chain of barrier islands, and when I envision the future of our city, there's no reason as to why we can't be a global example of true resilience and environmental sustainability. So we started our community action, and as you can see here, that ranges from working with the Surfrider Foundation to collect water samples every single Thursday and deliver it to their lab on Lincoln Road, where we have a bunch of different volunteer residents that help us do that, to organizing the Miami-Dade International Coastal Cleanup 2 years consecutively and hosting it in our part of the city in North Beach. We've also worked with different local nonprofits, including our local Episcopal Church, Clean Miami Beach, Seakeepers International, and we really tried to be a big part of sustainability and the environment when it comes to our community. We've also produced over 1,000 hours of community service certificates to local students through events organized by our association. And it all started very, very simply and very easy by simply creating a website and an engaging monthly newsletter that has gone out from the very beginning to 70 residents to our last newsletter in May that went out to over 800 residents. So yeah, we have a lot of readership. Over the last 4 years, a lot of data collection has been gathered, and I've attended a lot of different county commission meetings, Miami Beach Commission meetings, Watershed Board meetings, North Bay Village Commission meetings. And as Commissioner Batts said, our mission was to make sure that everybody knew about this issue, because a lot of times Parkview Island is not even on people's radar. People don't know where it is. And Parkview Island is a part of Biscayne Bay. So it was very, very important to us to make sure that our advocacy is not only heard in our city, but also to a wider audience so that we can get real action and real restoration to the canal. The sad part is that in the past year, only 16% of samples taken met the Department of Health's requirements for safe recreation. That's what led us last year to be featured on Louis Aguirre's Channel 10 when he did a special report on the Parkview Canal. As you can see here, this is part of the study that was carried out by Dr. Helena Solo Gabriel and her team, in which a 100-page plus study was published on the enterococci levels of bacteria in the Parkview Canal. So now that all this data and research has been carried out and done, it's time for the real restoration of the canal to begin. Earlier this year, we proposed 2 legislative items to the City Commission. One was to rename a forgotten and underserved walkway with broken sidewalks and insufficient lighting, lined with trees and native wildlife that runs along the Parkview Canal. Our proposal would rename it to the Tatum Waterway Nature Trail. This would not only ensure a bright future for the trail, but also allow the city to make other sustainable improvements to the area. And that's kind of what our mission is, to improve our neighborhood and our community through environment and resilient sustainability, to make sure that things like the Parkview Island Canal issue that's been already 4 years does not happen again and spread to other nearby neighborhoods in our community, because as Commissioner Batt rightly said, water holds no boundaries. And what may affect our community today may affect yours tomorrow. So you can see there, that's the results from the Blue Water Lab of the Surfrider Foundation. And unfortunately, as the graph shows you, the red line is what the maximum threshold should be at 70 milliliters per 100 milliliters of salt water. And on Parkview Island, still some months we're seeing 20,000 parts range. That's 300 times over the state limit for safe recreation. And so what's next? During Climate Month in April, we led the North Beach Climate Walk and Talk, which was a great tour of the neighborhood and all the resilient projects that are upcoming together with the new Nobi Town Center. And as I mentioned, we're working with Commissioner Dominguez and Commissioner Bat, who is a co-sponsor of the Tatum Waterway Nature Trail item, which we proposed earlier this year. And we've also made other proposals, such as renovating the entrance welcome sign and lighting to our community, as it's been over 3 decades since it's been touched. When I first attended my first Biscayne Bay Marine Health Summit in 2022, I was seriously inspired and just amazing panels all day long. I couldn't wait to come back. And it's been tough. It hasn't been easy. And sometimes you don't get responses, or you're demotivated because you feel like things are moving slowly or not moving at all. But what I will tell you is that when I started this mission, I had 0 contacts in this field. And little by little, we worked our way to make those contacts part of our journey. And it's been something that, has reached every single part of our community, not only residents, but also at City Hall. And it's something that we're looking to keep doing over the next years, as I've now established my own organization called Green Coastal Development, where we look to continue rolling out and creating sustainable solutions in our communities.
Thank you, Omar. Our next speakers is Miami Waterkeeper. We have Addie Nagel and Laura Del Mar Cruz.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Buenos dias. My name is Laura del Mar Cruz, and this is Addie Nagel. We are both part of the education and outreach team at Miami Waterkeeper, and we love working towards inspiring the next generation of ocean advocates. And today we're going to be focusing on our approach to youth programming. So let's dive in. So firstly, what is Miami Waterkeeper? Miami Waterkeeper is an environmental nonprofit that works towards advocating for resilient solutions that are grounded in science, rooted in nature, and driven by community. So to break that down even further, we hone in on Miami's challenges, right? They can range either from clean water to sea level rise. And we have a 3-tiered approach in protecting our water resources. The first one is our science and research team, in which they conduct water quality monitoring on over 30 sites and then make that data publicly available. Then we have our policy team, in which they essentially advocate, right, and move forward resilient and water initiatives. And then we have our education and outreach team, and we host monthly volunteer events and as well educational trainings. So as you can see, Miami is a city built around water, right? And it is vital to our everyday, and we work hard towards protecting it. So right now we're going to be focusing on our youth education programs, and Addie is going to talk a little bit about our Junior Ambassador program, or as we kindly call the JA program.
Thank you for the introduction, Lau. So we are going to jump in quickly to a program overview of what our JA program looks like. So our Junior Ambassador program is an environmental education initiative for high school students. We primarily are getting high school students from Miami-Dade County and Broward County, and our program runs alongside the school year. So it goes from September to June, and upon successful completion, these students are granted a minimum of 20 service hours. A lot of them go above and beyond. We have some of them that do like 50 service hours. They're really great. The goal of the program is to essentially give these students the skills they need, give them the education and the confidence to be the next generation of environmental leaders. This year, we welcomed our largest junior ambassador cohort with 35 junior ambassadors from 29 different high schools. And it's really a mixed bag of different types of high schools that we have. We have public schools, private schools, charters, Title I. So it's a great group of kids. And this year we had 6 leadership board members, and our leadership board is comprised of past junior ambassadors who want to stay on for another year and kind of offer guidance and mentorship to the next cohort. So what does the curriculum and training look like? It really hinges on these 4 advocacy trainings that we offer. So these are workshops led by Miami Waterkeeper staff. We also collaborate with other nonprofits and local leaders, and we cover a wide array of topics. We go all the way from pollution identification and reporting to communicating science and public speaking. But today I want to talk about our government agencies and environmental advocacy workshop because there's a really unique component, which is our letter writing project, where we have the junior ambassadors write letters. They find an issue that they're passionate about that affects them, their community, and they write a letter to a local elected official or an agency that's responsible for that issue and kind of communicate why they're passionate about it and their ideas for potential solutions. And so we had a junior ambassador this year, Sophia Diaz. She wrote a letter to Sonia Brubacher, who is the Chief Resiliency Officer for the City of Miami. And Sonia not only responded, but set up a Zoom call with Sophia, and they were able to chat about the issues she was passionate about. And then we've also had a junior ambassador who wrote a letter to Joe Biden, and he invited her out to come and meet him. And so we had a junior ambassador meet the president, which is pretty cool because we always say our junior ambassadors, one of them one day is going to be the president. So pretty cool.
So alongside all of our advocacy workshops, junior ambassadors have the ability to participate in a number of different field experiences. They can go either on beach and kayak cleanups, they can go on snorkel trips, and as well to kind of tie out the program and wrap everything up, we take them into a shark tagging field trip in which they learn different field techniques and they learn the different method studies on sharks on Biscayne Bay. So essentially all of these in combination give junior ambassadors a sense of all of the environmental problems that are occurring in Biscayne Bay and as well help them develop those leadership skills. One of the final requirements for graduation for our junior ambassadors program is each and every individual one has to create an environmental advocacy project. And this project has to focus on a current environmental issue, reach a minimum of 10 people, and they had to deploy diverse advocacy skills, such as maybe creating a digital campaign, public speaking, a video, all to inform and educate the public. So over here, we have an example of an advocacy project. This is a past JA, Haim Steele. So Haim noticed some conflict on his neighborhood's online forums regarding pest waste disposal, right? So he created a simple solution, and it was to create stickers to give to neighbors to place on their trash cans, indicating whether they accepted pet waste or not. So this essentially led pet owners to have these waste disposal options, ensure best waste management practices, and as well minimize that nutrient pollution and of course angry neighbors. So actually this initiative led to the creation of a nonprofit, and it's known as Yes Poo No Poo, and we just wanted to highlight this amazing initiative. So over here we have a video showing lots of fun that our JA have in our environmental advocacy workshops.
Yeah, in there. In there.
We learn lots, but we also have lots of fun, I promise you all. So now we're gonna head into our Youth Environmental Action Days, so how we kindly call them, YA Days.
Alrighty, so a program overview really quickly. Our YA Days are hands-on environmental education programming that's tailored towards 5th grade through high school students. We do it at Historic Virginia Key Park, so we're right on the water, on the beach. Looking at 2023, so just a little snapshot of our YA Days, we had 18 total YA Days that engaged 559 participants. And one of the activities we do is a marine debris cleanup, and we had 810.6 pounds of trash removed. So they're pretty impactful. And I'll hop in a little bit to talk about the learning experiences that go along with our Yeah Days. So for every Yeah Day, we cover these topics. We're talking about South Florida ecosystems, coral reefs, mangroves, seagrasses. We're looking at local environmental stressors, talking about pollutants and their sources. We do water quality testing and a marine debris cleanup. And then we're always emphasizing citizen science and the ability for anybody, no matter what your age, no matter what your background, has the ability to be a scientist. Here are some of the activities that we do. So one of them is the incredible shrinking habitat activity, where we use hula hoops to show habitat degradation. It's very fun, a little dark topic, but it's fun. We also do water quality testing with Earth Echo kits. So the students are actually able to, we're on at a beach site, so they can test the water at the beach that we're at. And we're looking at pretty scientific parameters like pH and dissolved oxygen, and they can form hypotheses and be scientists for the day. Then we always do a talk about Biscayne Bay. It's more of a conversation using foam boards and visual aids where we can kind of meet students where they're at, figure out what their background is in, what they know about the bay, and kind of weave in fun facts. And then we always end the day with a marine debris cleanup, showing that you can do small actions and make a big change. We really quickly want to shout out our amazing community partners. Some of them are here today. They really help us increase our accessibility of our programming and our audience. So here's just a couple of our partners. We are so thankful for all of you.
So now inspiring change, right? We are so grateful for the opportunity to work with students every day and inspire change. It's really amazing to see students either from middle school or high school take what they've learned, blend it in with their unique experiences, and develop these innovative projects. So all of our youth education programs offer diverse tools, diverse engaging activities, so we can help them develop those leadership skills and as well a sense of civic responsibility and paint that picture of all of the problems that are occurring and how they can affect change from the ground up. Looking ahead, how do we see our youth education program? So we are looking at creating more collaborations with local organizations and as well with the Miami-Dade County Public School System, all to offer diverse youth education programs and connect students with their local environment. Also, I wanted to add that we're committed in providing multiple educational resources in different languages and as well basically adapting our curriculum to the evolving needs of our environment and as well our communities. So here is our contact information. If you're an educator or you're more interested in our youth education programs, feel free to reach out. And if you want to get involved with the organization, you can scan that QR code to our website and see our current events. Thank you so much, and we hope to inspire people and that education can make a difference in safeguarding our water resources. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miami Waterkeeper. So our next speaker is Barbara Martinez Guerrero, the Executive Director of Dream in Green.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to this session. It's great to look out and see a lot of familiar faces. So this will be a quick presentation to try to keep us back in on our schedule. So for those of you who are not familiar, Dream in Green is a nonprofit organization that's been around since 2006. And really our mission is to empower individuals, especially our K through 12 students, to lead in the response to climate change and other environmental challenges in South Florida. Throughout our history, our main program has been the Green Schools Challenge. And basically, the Green Schools Challenge is a whole systems program that engages students in hands-on activities to save energy, water at school, and teaches them about the links between natural resources, climate change, and community sustainability. We started in Miami-Dade County, and we're proud to say that our program is now in Broward and Palm Beach County. So we can say all of South Florida. This is basically the framework of our program. It starts in August when school starts, and it goes all the way to June when school ends. And we start very simply with training our teachers. We have a train the trainer model in which we provide our teachers with free curriculum and free resources that they can implement into their classroom in multidisciplinary settings. So not only science, but also language arts, visual arts, and other disciplines in our schools. We start with having them create a green team and create a green pledge. And that is to get the whole school into the idea of sustainability and to make them accountable for what they do throughout the year. We also have them conduct an environmental self-assessment, which basically asks the team that is composed of not only students, but of principals, teachers, and even zone mechanics and different staff at the school to look at the operations of their buildings. And then we have them set environmental goals for their school throughout the year. We have monthly challenges because the Green Schools Challenge is actually a competition for schools. And we have free lessons that we either create in-house or we partner with other organizations like Eco Adventures that's here, and other amazing partners that we have. But our 6 main themes are energy efficiency and conservation, water quality and conservation, waste reduction and recycling, green living, alternative transportation, and food security. And at the end of the year, we have them conduct an eco summit or attend one for high schools that we organize. And then we do an end of the year award ceremony, which is actually happening in the next 2 weeks for Miami-Dade and Broward. Very quickly, our program features, as I mentioned, are these free lessons and curriculum. They're all aligned with Florida state standards. We want them to empower students to take action, and all of the lessons encourage students to go beyond the classroom. Back in 2018, 2019, we partnered with the Ocean Conservancy and City of Miami with their Shores Forward program. And I just wanted to highlight that because that was the beginning of a partnership that is still continuing with the Ocean Conservancy, which we are using their research and their resources to bring it into the classroom to be able to teach students about what they can do to help Biscayne Bay, which is why we're all here. We started out with a PSA, public service announcement video competition with City of Miami students. And here we have just a couple. I'm not going to play the videos because of time, but it was a competition and our winner was actually Booker T. Washington Senior High School. We had also had Young Women's Prep at the top of that list, and even Miami Downtown Charter created these wonderful videos about what they were doing to protect Biscayne Bay. So with our partners, as I mentioned, we integrated various themes, and here are some of the themes in the curriculum. So we talked about at the smaller, pre-K through 5th grade level, we talked about the water cycle. Then we went into identifying threats of keynotes marine species. We talked about what is a watershed and how it affects Biscayne Bay. And then how sea level is causing climate gentrification once we got to the high school students. And that was through our water conservation theme. We also created, through our waste and recycling, various lessons that related to plastic pollution. For those of you who are not familiar, the Ocean Conservancy conducted a circularity assessment protocol, or CAP. And so with that, we integrated, again, lessons into pre-K through 12th grade classrooms in Miami-Dade County to have students learn about the resources. We want them to go beyond what's on a textbook and to see what is current in their community, what our government is doing about it to hold them accountable, and what they can do about what is happening in their community. So they learned about Miami-Dade County's Plastic Free 305 initiative, and they were asked a couple of years to create business plans for restaurants to use no single-use plastic. Those were really interesting. They were also asked to create plastic pollution solutions infographics and debated on the banning of plastics here in our community, and to learn about the preemptive ban that we have. We also had them create lab experiments to examine the effects of salt water on plastic and other materials over an extended period of time. And so with these lessons, specifically with the water conservation and recycling, we saw an increase every year since our partnership has begun. Since, like I said, 2019 was our first year that we kicked it off. We don't have the data yet for 2023, 2024, since they're just finishing school, but we have seen an increase every year. Even in 2020, where obviously we had a little bit of a drop with participation because of COVID, but you could see all of a sudden in 2022, 2023, those numbers. Please follow us if you are not already doing so. And if you have curriculum ideas and would like to partner with us, again, not only do we create curriculum, but we also put into our program curriculum created by others. So we're here to partner. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, our next speaker is Dania Cortez, Library Media Project Specialist with Miami-Dade Public Library System.
Thank you. My name is Dinah Cortez, and I'm the Library Media Project Specialist, also an extremely passionate artist and an environmentalist. I am honored to have been invited to speak here at the Biscayne Bay Marine Health Summit and represent the Miami-Dade Public Library System. I must mention that today marks a significant milestone, as this is the first time the Miami-Dade Public Library System participates in an environmental summit. So what is Climate of Art? A program overview. In simplest of words, Climate of Art is an innovative approach to addressing environmental issues, specifically focusing on the climate literacy through the arts. The program seeks to raise awareness about environmental concerns specific to the Miami-Dade County area. And Climate of Art is a passion project created and spearheaded by me. When offered the chance to utilize this extensive platform, I found myself at Miami-Dade Public Library System, and I knew 7 years ago that I had to seize the opportunity to develop something that aligned with my passions, which is art and environmentalism, and thus Climate of Art was created. And so what Climate of Art does, we are promoting environmental initiatives. Climate of Art supports and promotes the county environmental initiatives, including Resilient 305, Biscayne Bay restoration efforts, county climate action programs, and more. When creating Climate of Art, my main objective was to foster community engagement, provide essential environmental information to our library patrons, and support the creation of impactful climate art. I believe that our libraries are extremely vital to our community, and have the power to showcase the connections between art and climate science. One of the things that mattered the most was the importance of teaching climate literacy, the correct climate science, in a simplified manner for those patrons who don't quite understand or don't know the crucial state of the environment. So Climate of Art works with environmental experts like Dr. Obey Sakata. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. I know he was out there, so I was like, please don't be in my speech. I was like, I know. He's a director and research professor at the Sea Level Center, and Mr. Tico Aran, citizen scientist in residence at Deering Estate, who helps explain complex climate science. In 2020, Dr. Obey Sakata and Tico Aran, to name a few, presented an online Climate of Art environmental conference. After these presentations, we then hosted engaging eco-friendly workshops with artists who help our library patrons better understand complex scientific concepts. So Climate of Art supports our county's initiatives. That includes Action 1 and 2 strategies. If you don't know about them, please go read about it. In the Resilient 305 plan, and as well as the Sea Level Rise strategy and Biscayne Bay restoration efforts. We have had the pleasure of working with Ms. Irela Bagué, as you could see here, the former Chief Bay Officer, who has been a significant supporter for Climate of Art. We invited here Ms. Irela Bagué to join library patrons of all ages in a painting session where they had the chance to interact with her one-on-one. They learned about her role as a Chief Bay Officer and the county's efforts to restore Biscayne Bay. And all while painting a beautiful skyline of Biscayne Bay and Miami skyline. Programs like these help us obviously to continue to foster interdepartmental cooperation within our county departments. So each year, Climate of Art organizes a series of workshops leading up to the culminating event. prior to the grand exhibition this year, August 24th. Please put it in your calendars. The library arranges art workshops across the library system, inviting environmental artists that help facilitate various art sessions. The art workshops produced during these the artwork created during these workshops are subsequently gathered and showcased at the main art exhibit. Over the past 7 years, Climate of Art has presented more than 100 programs at various library branches, including the A.D. Barnes Park Nature Center with Miami Eco. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Heather's right here and I just blew it. Thank you. Climate of Arts then is now a 3-time award-winning program within the Miami-Dade Public Library System, having received the 2021 FLA Exemplary Instructional Programs Award, the 2020 NACO Achievement Award, and the prestigious Urban Library Council Top Innovator Award. However, I'd have to say that the greatest achievement of all is the impact Climate of Art has had in fostering civic engagement, inspiring climate leaders, and uniting communities in a common goal to protect our environment. So Climate of Art began in a humble, distant, far, 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 far away land, West Kendall. Starting at the West Kendall Regional Library since 2018. Actually, I initially thought about it in 2017, but it all came to fruition on 2018. Since then, it expanded its reach, moving from online platforms to outdoor events and across our library branches. We are also seeking to collaborate with new artists, environmental organizations, which we have come with I have to work with Miami Waterkeeper, and of course we work with Clean Miami Beach. And so every year I found myself that I was giving a theme. The year before last, we did a solar punk future at the parks. And we had, last year we did Preserve the Everglades. And this year, this is this program flyer, which I have right here for you if you'd like to scan the QR code. Each year I give it a theme. This year is all about the water, hence why Climate of Art is called Climate of Art Beyond the Surface, a deep dive into water. And so I was inspired by my mother's recent passing and the experience of scattering her ashes in the ocean. And I found myself going to the water more and more, and thus came Climate of Art Beyond the Surface, a deep dive into water. And so lastly but not least, I'd like to say thank you once again. Please scan the QR code for our calendar of events. And my name is Dinah Cortez. Thank you for your attention. And I look forward to connecting and collaborating.